This is everything that you need to know to make Brant the strongest hybrid DPS. Alright, so first off, let's talk about his ideal animation. He is the first character in the game with an ideal animation that actually does something. Yup, bro power creeps out of the ideal animations in the game. His ideal animation actually heals you, and it heals you even more if you have the rejuvenating glow set on him, and it also gives your whole team an attack buff. Let's simplify his kit. So with his basic attack, he has a 4-hit combo that does fusion damage. With his mid-air attacks, he has a 4-hit combo that does fusion damage. So with the first and second hit, he swings towards the enemy, and if you don't hit an enemy in your first and second hit, then he will jump down. With his third mid-air attack, he spins around the enemy. With the fourth one, he charges and slashes the enemy. And this attack is the one with the highest multipliers. You can hold the attack button or press it multiple times to do the full combo. So yeah, you want to do normal attack 1 and 2 and then hold it. If you just hold it without basic attack 1 and 2, then he'll do a spin and then a backflip and then spin again and backflip, and then you have to do a normal attack and then another normal attack for his stage 4 attack to finish the combo. But yeah, if you just do the normal attacks, then he'll do a flip after each attack. Think of this as his way of dodging while he's in midair. With his heavy attack, he consumes stamina and does fusion damage. He also has an enhanced heavy attack. So for a ground version, you just hold the attack button after basic attack 2 or basic attack 4. And for the midair version, you press the attack button after the 4th basic attack where he lands. You know what, since I'm here to simplify his kit, just forget all that and jump, hold the attack button since he does everything on his own, and then dodge by pressing the normal attack button if you need to. And yeah, after the second spin, press the normal attack button 2 times to finish the combo. Next, let's get to his skill. So he shoots the enemy with his gun and puts him in his mid-air mode where he swings towards the enemy and does his 4-hit combo. His skill also changes to a sword icon if his 4 is not full. So when you press it, then he plunges down, and his damage is considered basic attack damage. If you don't hit an enemy in your first 2 hits, so hit 1 and 2, then he will cast his plunge skill automatically and fall down. If you use his skill while you're on the ground, then it puts you in mid-air, and if you use it in mid-air, then it puts you on the ground. You can also cancel his skill's animation by using his ultimate. Let's get to his foray. So he gains attack based on his energy region up to 1560 at 280 ER, which a lot of people won't hit, and it's fine since he can still work with less ER, so don't worry about it too much. He can hold up to 140 stacks, and he heals the team every 25 40 stacks that he gets, which is marked with the star symbols on his foray. And of course, his healing depends on his energy region. When his foray is full, then his skill button will light up and it gets enhanced. So when you press it, then it does a ton of fusion damage, which is considered basic attack damage. This is his nuke, and it gives all of the characters on your team a shield, which is again based on his energy region. So how strong is his shield? Well, if you want to know how strong his shield is, then you go to his foray here. So it depends on the level. So let's see at level 6, if we press skill details, then it says here 15.75 times, go up here, energy region 253, 15.75 times energy region. So we have 253 and we get 3984, but we're not done yet. So if we go back here, then we can see 4375. So we do plus 4375 and we get 8359 at level 6. So at level 10 this goes up to 9500. Yeah guys, that's a lot. And each of your teammates has their own personal shield with its own health, so yeah, they don't share it, which is just too good. So how do you get 40 stacks? You can get 40 stacks from his normal attacks, his intro, and his skill, but all of these have to hit the enemy. And with normal attacks, I mean the mid-air attacks, the ground attacks, the dodge counters, and the heavy attacks, they all count. But remember, you have to hit an enemy or you won't get 40 stacks, but you'll mostly be using his mid-air attacks to fill his 40. Let's get to his ultimate. So with his ultimate, which can be cast in mid-air, he swings towards the enemy, does damage, heals the team, and he gains 40 stacks, twice as fast. So you want to always start your rotation with his ultimate. Also, his 40's attack buff here gets replaced with a stronger version that again gives him attack based on his energy region up to 2600, which caps at 280. So yeah, the same thing as the old one, but a lot higher attack. And of course the healing again depends on your energy region, but to be honest it's fine since his ultimate has a high energy cost. So yeah, try to get at least 180 ER for his ultimate. With his intro, he attacks the enemy, does fusion damage, and his next mid-air attack starts at stage 2. With his outro, he gives the next character that you switch to 20% fusion damage amp and 25% skill damage amp for 14 seconds or until the character switched out. So yeah, really good. Let's get to his inherent skill. So inherent skill 1, the healing from his 40 stars is increased by 20%. Inherent skill 2, he gains 15% interruption resistance during his melee attacks and 15% fusion damage bonus. So yeah, not a lot, but really good. And if you're confused right now, then don't worry. You'll understand him a lot better once we get to his rotations. Let's get to his skill priority. So his Forte is the most important one, and then his basic attacks, his ultimate, his skill. And as for the intro, you can leave it at 6 or lower, since it will get expensive with a weekly boss match. Next, let's get to his weapon. So his weapon choice is really important, since he decides which echo set he can use. And he's actually the first character where his signature weapon has such a big gap compared to the other options, but it's sadly only good on him. So I can see a lot of free-to-play players skipping his weapon. Anyways, his best in slot weapon is of course his signature weapon. It has the lowest attack on a 5-star weapon, the same as the Showkeeper's weapon, but it makes up for it with a 77% ER. So you can run a fusion 3 cost on him, and you don't really have to worry about the attack since he boosts his own attack by a lot. And this weapon also gives him some crit rate, which is good, easier build, and up to 48% basic attack damage bonus. Next we have Camellia's signature weapon, high attack, 24% crit rate, so easier build, some more attack, a ton of basic attack damage bonus, but I don't recommend going for this weapon since the gap isn't that big between this and a standard 5-star weapon. It's only 5%, so yeah, save your pulls. At S1, I recommend the Molten Ref set. So yeah, high attack, 24% crit rate, which is really good, some extra ER from here, so yeah, this should help with the requirements, and up to 12% attack. If you have multiple copies of this weapon, then the 12% ER changes to 25% ER, but I don't think anybody has R5 yet. As for the best 4-star options, we have the Overture. This weapon is really good if you can get the ER requirements, and you don't really need multiple copies of this weapon since it gives controller energy, which Brant doesn't need since his kit already gives him enough. The R1 is enough. Next we have the Lumengloss, the Battle Pass weapon. So the only reason why this weapon is good is because of the basic attack damage bonus, but yeah, I don't recommend spending money on this. After that we have Sword of Voyager, a 3-star weapon with ER, but it's pretty hard to hit the tide breaking courage requirements with this. And do you really think it's worth spending your materials and your credits leveling this when the Overture exists? As for the last 2 options, like always, we have the Commando and the Endless Collapse. So I would recommend you guys to just get the Emerald of Genesis. When it comes to the echoes, he has too many options: the Tide Breaking Courage, the Molten Rift set, the Moonlit Cloud set, and the Rejuvenating Glow. If I had to rank them, then the best one overall is the Tide Breaking Courage, and then we have the Molten Rift set, the Moonlit Clouds, and finally the Rejuvenating Glow, which I don't recommend. But yeah, like I said earlier, his echo choice depends on his weapon. Alright, let's start with the Tide Breaking Courage. So it gives him 10% ER. That helps with his requirements, 15% attack, and if his ER is above 250, then he gets 30% fusion damage bonus. So yeah, really good. And for this set, I recommend the Overture and his signature weapon. As for the forecast, we have the Dragon of Dirge, which gives 12% fusion damage bonus and 12% basic attack damage bonus as soon as you equip this. So yeah, both of the buffs are really good and he needs them. The echo skill also does good damage and can be swap cancelled or dodge cancelled. I only recommend this set if you have his signature weapon. The Overture can work too, but it's really hard. Next we have the Molten Rift set, which is only like 6% verse. Then the Tide Breaking Courage, so it gives you a 10% fusion damage bonus and even more fusion damage bonus here after you use his skill. So yeah, make sure to always use his skill. As for the forecast, we have 2 options. Even though the normal Inferno Rider has better buffs, you will still go with the Nightmare Inferno Rider since you get the buffs as soon as you equip the echo and you don't need to waste time casting it. As for the weapons, I recommend weapons that don't have ER, like Camellia's signature weapon, Chang-Li's signature weapon, and Emerald of Genesis. Next we have the good old Moonlit Cloud set. It gives the same ER as the Tide Breaking Courage set, and this set is mainly there to buff your main DPS. So yeah, the outro gives the next character that you switch to 22.5% attack. So yeah, less personal and overall team damage, but bigger numbers for your main DPS. And as for the forecast, of course, only one option, the Heron. As for the weapons, any weapon is good as long as it's not his signature, since it will be wasted on this set. And then we have the Rejuvenating Glow set, since he can heal, but yeah, this set is less ideal, and this is his worst set, since he's more of a sub DPS because of his outro. As for the forecast here, I recommend the Fallacy of No Return, since it buffs your team. As for the Echo main stats, forecast is crit damage or crit rate, depending on what you need more. As for the 3 cost, cost, you want double ER if you're not using the Tide Breaking Courage set. Since his ultimate has a high energy cost, so I only recommend the 3 cost fusion piece on him if you're using the Tide Breaking Courage set and you're overcapping with his ER. As for the 1 cost, it's double attack, since yeah, he has good damage. When it comes to the substats, you want ER the most, and then crits and basic attack damage bonus. Attack is last, since he already gives himself too much with his ultimate and his Forte. When it comes to recommended stats, I recommend 65% crit rate, 260% crit damage, 1600 attack before a buff, 180 plus ER, since his attack boost, his shield, his healing, all depend on his energy, but yeah, the more the better. And if you're using the Tide Breaking Courage set, then you want at least 250 ER to get the 4-piece set buff. Next you have the teams, and Brant does everything. He has good personal damage, he heals and shields you, he boosts your damage with his outro, and he has good consorter region. I mean, if you look at his outro, then we can see that he would be best paired with fusion characters like Chisha, Encore, and the best, Changli, since she can use both the fusion damage buff and the skill damage buff. Talking about skill damage, yup, Carlotta works too, and Jinhsi, but if you're running him with Jinhsi, then make sure that you have someone who can fill Jinhsi's Forte fast enough. But you can also run him as a main DPS with Sanhua or Roccia and make it canon, since she has really good grouping. As for the last slot, if Brant is not a healer, then yeah, any other healer works like Warina, Baiju, and the Shorekeeper. A really good team would be Changli as the main DPS, Brant as a sub DPS, and a buffer with his outro buffing Changli. As for the last slot, we can use Sanhua, who would be buffing Brant with her outro, since Brant already heals and shields you. As for the new players, it's the same thing, except instead of Changli we have Chisha. Alright, let me just quickly speedrun his sequences. In less than 30 seconds, S1 slows down the enemies when you do his Forte skill, plus increases his damage up to 60% after intro, and when there flips, his weapon is better than S1. S2, his mid-air attacks and his Forte increases his crit rate by 30%, and he gains another outro which does a ton of damage. S3 increases Forte multipliers by 42%. S4 makes his shield stronger and he heals more. S5 plus 15% basic attack damage bonus. S6 plus 30% damage multipliers to his mid-air attacks, and his Forte attack does another hit. Alright, let's get to the rotations. So your main goal is to first use his ultimate so that you can fill up his Forte faster and use his enhanced skill. Alright, so we start with the intro and then do his skill and cancel the animation with his ultimate, and then we do a basic attack, a heavy attack, a basic attack, and then we use his Forte's enhanced skill, his echo, and outro. So yeah, super easy rotation. And if you get knocked down, then you can press the skill button to get back up, or just jump and try to fill his Forte. If his Forte is almost full and you got knocked down, then you can just do grunt basic attacks to fill it up. And if you don't want to get interrupted during his Forte skill, then you can swap off to keep him safe. So is he worth pulling? I mean, if you have the pulls and if you're ready to invest time into him, make him the best, then yeah, he does everything, which at first I didn't like, since if a character does a lot of stuff, then that means that he's not the best in any of them. But yeah, he proved me wrong, and I'll be using him a lot more in the future. But again, he needs high investment if you want his max potential, so he's not a must pull, but a great pull. If this video helped you, then you can help me by liking and subscribing. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Thank you so much for watching.